All right, we are on cycle 3, scholars. Even though this section doesn't have a question, I still would like you taking notes so that you're ready for this summative writing that is coming next. We are going to start on page 116, so open up your books. We're starting at the red dot. Starting with the door. The door opens before we get there, and Loretta Lee is standing in the light, and she's saying, "Iggy, come look what the cat dragged in." Before we go on, we see this thing of light coming back in, and I passed over it in the last section, but he described the light, it was like a knife cutting through the dark, which isn't the best image. He's describing the light now like a knife. So let's continue to try to figure out what this light means in Freak's life. Or not Freak, in Max's life. Starting at then. Then we're inside, and Iggy is there bolting the door behind us and closing the shades, and Loretta, she's wearing this real slinky red dress that looks like it might fall off if she sneezed. She's saying, "Mission accomplished. Hey, Kenny? I knew you could do it if anyone could." Iggy says, "Watch your mouth, Loretta." "I do believe you've been drinking," my father says. "Has she been drinking, Iggy? I thought I made myself clear." "Hey, it's Christmas Eve," Iggy says, and he sounds real nervous. "A little punch, what can it hurt?" "A little punch," Loretta says, and her voice is slurpy. "That's all." She's wearing these fake eyelashes, and they're coming loose, so her eyes look almost blurry as her red mouth. I know because she keeps flapping her eyes at me and smiling so I can see where the lipstick got on her teeth. Iggy says, "She's okay, Kenny, you got my word." "Oh, right," Loretta says. "Turned over a new leaf. Preacher Cain turned over a new leaf, so there's no booze for anybody on Christmas Eve, even in our own house where a man is his castle." I want to pause there and talk about what that means. The idiom, or saying, "turning over a new leaf," refers to a person changing his or her behavior to act in a better way. The proverb, "a man's home is his castle," refers to the idea that a person should expect privacy and security in his or her own home. So her saying, Preacher Cain, referring to Max's dad, Kenny Cain, she calls him Preacher. So she's kind of trying to make fun of him here, I think. And she messes up this whole "a man's home is his castle." We know what that's called when someone says something and they mess it up, but not on purpose. So it's not a pun, it's a what? Give you 5 seconds to think about it. Shout it out. What is that what is that word from our knowledge organizer? Malapropism. Yes. All right. So she just used a malapropism. We're going to continue where we left off. We're going to start at "oh, shut it," right here. "Oh, shut it," Iggy says, and he makes Loretta sit down on the busted couch where she kind of leans over and waves at me, wink wink. Bring me and my boy some food," my father says. "We've been out in the cold for 8 long years and we're hungry, aren't we, son?" "Yes, sir," I say. Iggy goes out into the kitchen to fry up some hamburgers and we sit there waiting, not saying anything. Loretta is snuggled up on the couch, passed out with this dreamy look on her face. I eat that greasy hamburger, even though I can hardly stand to swallow, and Iggy is fussing around like it's such a big deal having Kenny Cain in the house, and it's hard to believe he's the same Iggy who is boss of the Panheads, the motorcycle gang that strikes fear into the hearts of everybody, including the cops. Then Loretta wakes up and stretches like a cat, yawning so you can practically see right down her throat. And she says, "I guess I needed that." Then she giggles, hiding her mouth. "I guess I need a lot of things." My father wipes his mouth with his folded paper napkin and ignores her, and looks at Iggy and says, "You ever do time, you could be a cook." Iggy gives this nervous heh 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 Like, wouldn't that be fun, being a cook in prison? He says, anytime you want, I'll show you that place I told you about. My father stands up. Now is good, he says. He looks right at me. Come on, boy. So we're going to pause there, and I'd like you to finish up your notes. Where did you see light in that chapter as we move on to our summative writing?